Gettysburg Museum of History Studios.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
I meant to ask you, how are your headphones?
You might want to turn that down a little bit.
You just kill it.
What, Matt? I can't hear you. That just blew you out there. What are you, number 3 there? How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, sorry. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Addressing Gettysburg's AXCA Gettysburg Guide. And today we are talking about the Battle of Brandy Station. We're not talking about anything to do with the Battle of Gettysburg, except for that this was kind of the kickoff to the campaign. And I'm very happy to have our two guests with us today. Of course, you know Tracy Baer from being a Gettysburg licensed battlefield guide. He's been on many shows before. And you know our other guest as just one of the members of the team that everybody knows and loves, the great Six Questions Lentz. But he is also, along with Tracy and Chris Army and any other guides from here,
Jason
Heilman, that's right. Mm-hmm. Are certified guides down at Brandy Station. And the company is called, I always forget the name, please tell me.
Culpeper Battlefield Tours.
Culpeper Battlefield Tours. And they are both here today to talk about the Battle of Brandy Station. Now, gentlemen, the Battle of Brandy Station is preceded by something that I find interesting. It is the second of two grand reviews of Stuart's third of three.
The third.
Wait. Okay, give me the first one.
It was in late May.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the late May one. Mm-hmm. Then
June 5th.
And then, okay, so
June
8th. I forgot about the late May one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Lee couldn't make it to both of those. Is that right?
Yeah.
He was kind of busy.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. Had more important things to do.
Yeah.
So Stuart wants to have this grand review. He invites Lee. Lee can't make it, and but finally he can on this third one.
That's right.
The schedule opened up. He could find it opening.
Yeah. He's like, fine, Jeb. Fine, I'll come to this one. Why the grand review? What's so wonderful about that? Why does he want to do it? Why does he do it 3 times? Is it a different audience each time? What's the deal?
I'm not as informed on the first one. The second one was really spectacular. Mm-hmm. You know, mock charges, artillery reviews and firing, and probably as important as anything to Jeb Stuart was bringing all the young ladies from Culpeper in to see the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then after this grand review, then it's all the parties, all the balls that would be invited to at in Culpeper itself. So this was a big display.
It was.
As much for Jeb as anything.
Right. That's what it sounds
and you
like.
talk and you read some of the accounts of the soldiers, they're like, really?
Oh, really? They didn't want to do it?
Well, I can't say not all of them were as enthusiastic as some of them were.
They didn't see the point.
And appropriately, the troopers from Grumble Jones's brigade were grumbling about doing that.
Of course they were. Of course. That's what else would they do? And then which one was it? I think it was the third one where Hood's division kind of chided them a bit as they marched by until Lee appeared. Is that right?
Well, Fitzlee invited John Bell Hood to bring a few friends to this grand review on June 8th. He brought his whole infantry division.
Yeah.
And
not quite what I meant there, John.
And when questioned about it, it's like, yes, these are all my friends. So,
But what's important about that is now the stage is set that Confederate infantry is nearby should they be needed.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not far away.
Because, set up here, Lee is moving from south the Rappahannock, moving west in the move to use the Blue Ridge Mountains to screen his movements. Okay. Yeah. He's heading towards the Shenandoah Valley.
He's in the Blue Ridge Mountains to screen his movements.
So while A.P. Hill is doing a kabuki dance in front of John Sedgwick.
Give me your kabuki dance.
Yeah. How did that happen? What did that look like again?
Oh, he's voguing as a kabuki dancer.
Mike, don't do that on the oral exam.
That's what I said to him. I said, we were doing a practice tour and he did that over on, what was it, Culp's Hill, I think, right?
Yeah,
and I said, don't do that.
Don't do that.
On your oral.
But Richard Ewell's corps and James Longstreet's corps are in the vicinity of Culpeper.
Yeah, they're around Culpeper.
So this is the kickoff to the invasion that would lead to the Battle of Gettysburg. And Stuart is guarding the right flank of the army. Is that correct? Although at this point he's actually just kind of in camp, though. Like, what is the point of him being at Brandy Station or Culpeper?
So he is. His army, his cavalry corps are widely dispersed, guarding the river forts.
Okay.
So you're going to have two of his brigades, Tom Munford, who is filling in for Fitzlee, is guarding Stark's Ford on the Hazel River, north of Culpeper.
Okay.
Rooney Lee will be guarding Welford's Ford, also on the Hazel River. Grumble Jones has his brigade somewhat dispersed, but they are in charge of watching over Beverly Ford on the Rappahannock. And portions of Beverly Robertson are guarding Kelly's Ford on the Rappahannock. Wade Hampton is pretty much in and around Stevensburg. So, and Corps headquarters, cavalry headquarters with Stuart is on Fleetwood. So they are widely dispersed. Why? Because they're guarding these fords, because the next day, which would be the 9th, Lee is ready to move north.
Okay.
So Stuart is ready to cross the rivers at these locations. And I should also say the artillery, the horse artillery under Robert Beckham is also not far off of Beverly Ford.
Right. So, okay. Stuart's going to cross the river the next day. This is not. When does he get the order where it's okay for him to do his, ride around the Union?
Oh, that's going to be later.
That's
So this isn't that.
No,
he's not on the river to go and do that now. At this point.
You're going to have 3 more battles before that.
Yeah.
You're going to have Aldie, Middleburg and Upperville.
Yeah, he's getting prepared to screen the movement of the army as it's moving north.
So he's getting on the other side of the river to keep the river in between just one more thing in between the Union Army and the Confederate Army.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to deal with Stuart, the river, and the Confederates.
Right.
Okay.
And I do think,
body,
Matt, I do think it's important to take a step back about those grand reviews. Because especially the one on the 5th.
Yeah.
Those gunshots, those cannon shots were heard by who? John Buford.
Okay.
So he heard this, and he's going to help with the scouting report to Hooker and to Pleasanton that we believe the Confederate cavalry is amassed around Culpeper. They don't know the infantry's also there.
And speaking of Grumble Jones before, wasn't he kind of like grumbling about all that?
Well, what isn't he grumbling about? It's Grumble Jones.
I know.
But
he's right here.
He's pulled out of the Shenandoah Valley to reinforce Stuart there in that period of time, there in early June. And so Stuart now commands essentially 5 brigades. That's the largest force he's ever commanded. And so holding these reviews are not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good way of seeing what you have.
Yeah, okay.
The problem is how many he had and what they were and what they did. In the June 5th one, it revealed his hand. It showed that there was a force there in Culpeper.
Yeah.
And that tips and says, okay, then why is there cavalry in Culpeper? Could Stuart be about to go on a raid?
Okay.
Because he's done that before. I know you've done, Tracy, you've done an episode for Patreon about the Chambersburg raid, about going up and around. Stuart's done this twice in 1862. He's ridden around the Union Army. So you see this much massing on the flank, about to, this much force. If you're Joseph Hooker, the commanding officer of the Army of the Potomac, what do you think your conclusion is?
Yeah.
Something's up.
And although the Battle of Chancellorsville wasn't that far distant.
It's about, a month?
Yeah. It's still early in the campaign season. So Hooker, as much as anything, hey, can I interrupt any plans that might be being made for this campaign? Whatever it is.
Right.
Yes.
Right. So Jones is not happy about the whole demonstrations because he's obviously they can hear it. But because he says something, doesn't he say something like that? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they're here in the morning.
He claims he knows that there are Union cavalry across the river. He says he knows that.
How does he know that?
That's a good question. That's Grumble Jones, but he makes that claim. But another thing to keep in mind with Grumble Jones is he and Stuart do not get along.
Right.
Yeah. They really are not buddies.
No.
And Grumble's not happy being in this situation.
Is that relationship between them, does that predate this point in, or is this just upon, like, have they been to work together before, or where does that come from? Or is it just because they're so opposite that they just don't like each other from the moment they've shaken hands for the first time?
It probably has as much to do with it as anything.
Yeah.
And then it's very easy to find something to say you don't like about them.
And when your boss, Stuart, Jones is known to be a complainer. Why to get his name, right? That's going to play into the whole relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's no.
But Jones, I think, as much as or as well as any of the other brigade commanders, is going to do a fine showing at Brandy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, so let's talk about the forces that are going to be arrayed there first. We're talking about the Confederates, so go into that. You said he's got 5 brigades, most he's ever commanded. Mm-hmm. Who are those brigades? Either one of you.
Well, he has his core division that he loves. He has the brigades of Rooney Lee, William Henry Fitzhugh Lee, that's Robert E. Lee's son. Mm-hmm. Fitz Lee, which is, I think that was Jeb Stuart's old brigade, that at least part of it was.
But Fitz is out with rheumatism, so Tom Munford.
So now it's Tom Munford.
Munford, yes, okay. And his sons.
I'm glad someone made that joke. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You beat me to it. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Tad flips to himself looking bemused.
Is Tad doing a dance over there?
No. He was just like unamused, maybe is the word I was looking for. All right, anyway, go ahead.
Wade Hampton is also his brigade there as well. Beverly Robertson, a brigade of 2 North Carolina regiments that D.H. Hill didn't fight for. He's like, yeah, you can have them. It's more to do with Beverly Robertson than anything else. And then William Grumble Jones and his Laurel Brigade. This used to be, the core of this used to be Turner Ashby's command in the Shenandoah Valley. So yeah, that was the force and the horse artillery.
And the long arm.
The horse artillery.
Now commanded by Culpeper resident and native Robert Beckham, who took over after Pelham was killed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay.
At Kelly's Ford.
And, all right. So that's the Confederate side. Mm-hmm. Now let's go over to the Union side.
Okay.
Who's on the Union side?
I think we need to look at, along with this, what were the Union plans?
Mm-hmm. Well, that was my next question.
That's huge.
So go ahead. Start with that then, and then tell us who they are then.
Okay. So the Union orders are essentially to, from Hooker via Pleasanton to the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd divisions of Union cavalry, the 1st being commanded by John Buford, the 2nd and 3rd really under overall command of David McMurtry Gregg. They are ordered to cross the Rappahannock at 2 separate locations, really to do that to avoid gridlock at any single ford. Let's divide it up, and then we'll come in from 2 different directions and meet where? Brandy Station. Mm-hmm. Meet at Brandy Station. From there, proceed towards Culpeper, where they believe Stuart is with the cavalry. Destroy and disperse the Confederate cavalry to the best of their ability. Okay? So, as I many times will say, that's the plan, but what's the casualty? What's the first casualty of any battle?
The plan.
The plan.
Yeah.
So that's not quite how it's going to pan out.
Well,
so to now address directly your question, who were involved. Buford's 1st Division, so we're going to have his cavalry there. Greg is going to be commanding his own. He's got the 3rd Division.
He's got the 3rd Division.
And then the 2nd Division is traveling with him under Alfred Duffier. And they will really be more or less stuck around Stevensburg and not really taking part in the main battle, so to speak.
So Buford's coming over Beverly Ford.
Yep.
Greg's coming over Kelly's Ford. And Duffier with the 2nd Division is supposed to swing out to Stevensburg to the west to cover the flank of the advance of the 3rd Division. That's
towards Brandy.
Towards the Brandy Station, heading north. So they could converge onto Brandy Station and then push on to Culpeper. That was the idea.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at the map here in the Leno book, and you've got your Buford up there at Beverly's Ford. You've got Greg and Duffier down at Kelly's Ford, but in between there's Norman's Ford. Is there a particular reason why they left that open, and instead of each division going over a different ford? Is there something wrong with it, or do they just want to get further on the flank of?
Well, if you look at the map, the roads that lead from Kelly's Ford, can lead you directly to Brandy Station, essentially.
They're more to Stevensburg.
They're more direct. They're more direct route.
No.
So
from Norman's Ford, it's a straight line. It's one road to Brandy. But I think I know why now. If I'm looking at it here, Buford comes in too close to Norman's Ford.
Yeah.
It's because Buford kind of comes, I guess that'd be west, and then immediately cuts southwest. And then Norman's Ford goes almost straight west. So that would have been a bottleneck there. So that makes sense. Yeah. And then you got the other two, Kelly's Ford. Once you cross it, you can go north. You can go northwest soon after that. And there's a whole network of roads that'll take you in northern directions. But another one will take you, which is the way Duffier went, towards Stevensburg. So you just have a wider. So that makes more sense. I answered my own question.
So you have a broader front that way.
Yes,
too.
yes.
But the important thing to note here about the orders that are given to the cavalry, to Pleasanton, is it's not to go find out what the enemy is doing. It's to go find Stuart and destroy him.
Destroy his ass.
Yes.
That's the point. Yeah. And that is consistent with the way Hooker has been operating his cavalry since he's taken over command. In fact, Kelly's Ford in March of 1863 had been the site of one of the real early cavalry battles of the Cavalry Corps in the existence of the Army of the Potomac. It featured a division of cavalry versus Fitz Lee. So the orders to his horse soldiers had been consistently aggressive. Now, granted, as the Stoneman raid would show in the Chancellorsville campaign, results weren't exactly there. Though the orders were aggressive, the battlefield performance was still kind of not result-driven, but they were showing they were capable. This would be the first time, I think, that the Cavalry Corps is going to be sent in to a battle-specific mission, all of it.
And to your point, Stoneman was replaced by
Pleasanton.
Yeah. I think we should also insert here that the cavalry, the Union cavalry, was not alone.
I was just going to.
They are going to be supported by infantry.
Yep.
And this is not just, hey, let's get a division and you guys just tag along. This is a hand-picked group of men, several regiments from various corps. And these are known to be good marchers and hard fighters, reliable officers. So they are not, again, just pick somebody and go. These are hand-picked troops.
So it's a brigade kind of slopped together, or a couple brigades, I guess. Slopped together for a specific purpose.
Right, and they will be divided up relatively evenly between Buford and Greg.
About 1,500 men each, essentially. Among 6 of the infantry corps are going to contribute soldiers to this. It really are kind of all-star teams of regiments.
Who are some of the regiments we're talking about here?
Okay, if you want to talk about the ones going over Beverly Ford.
Yes.
We're going to see coming in from
they're following Buford.
Yeah, the 12th Corps. We're going to see the 2nd Massachusetts. Lieutenant Colonel Mudge in charge of them. You know, it's a murder. It's the order, but it's murder.
It's murder, but it's the order.
But it's the order.
Yeah.
The 3rd Wisconsin is going to be involved. 33rd Massachusetts of the 11th Corps is going to be involved. The 124th New York, the Orange Blossoms, and the 86th New York are going to be involved going over there. Now, that's going to be under Adelbert Ames.
A good one.
And then going over with Gregg is a brigade under Russell. And this is going to feature the 7th Wisconsin, which is a few companies of the 2nd Wisconsin. So some dudes with black hats are going to be involved in that.
Sure.
You also have the 81st Pennsylvania and the 5th New Hampshire, a demi-brigade under E.E. Cross, the guy with the bandana. And you also have the 119th Pennsylvania, I think of the 6th Corps. I forget the last regiment in that brigade. I'm a bit of a nerd, but that's...
Really?
but what the thing here is the order that was given to these corps commanders is that it is desired that the command sent from your corps should be one well-disciplined and drilled, capable of marching rapidly and of endurance, that the officers should be noted for energy and efficiency, and of course 2 ambulances properly supplied to accompany them. So they're expecting these guys to be involved. They're not there just to be fancy with their hats. They're there to get involved in this. And now, what they're supposed to do is to protect, among things, to secure the fords, but they're also there to kind of add their firepower to this whole operation.
Bolster the cavalry. Does the cavalry have any artillery with it? Okay.
Yeah.
A lot or a little bit?
It's divided up pretty evenly, but you're going to have names that are familiar here at Gettysburg.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what? It begins like really early, like 4 a.m, something like that, I believe.
Yeah, the orders for the Union troops were to cross the fords and connect at Brandy, but the problem is Gregg's 2 divisions had further to march.
Okay.
So Buford is going to start crossing the Rappahannock River at Beverly Ford relatively early, before Gregg's division is anywhere close to Kelly's Ford. And it's really going to be at that point a case of neither side was really prepared for what's going to happen. It's poor scouting for both of them.
Okay.
The Union thinks the Confederate cavalry's in and around Culpeper. Well, they're expecting some minor picketing, just guarding the fords. That's not going to be anything out of the ordinary.
Right.
They're expecting that. But they weren't expecting what they're going to run into. And the Confederates didn't expect the Union troops to be coming over at all. They're ready to move north.
Yeah.
Right. So Buford's going to be crossing that river very early on, and elements of very few men from the 6th Virginia under Jones are going to be picketing that ford, and they will, coming out of the mist across that early morning river, they're going to see these men. And some of the noise that the Union troops will be making crossing that river are muffled by an old mill dam just upstream from the ford that has not been in use, so the water is tumbling over that, hiding some of this noise.
Oh.
But once those men start crossing the river, then the party begins. Yeah.
And so who's in the lead there? Is that Davis, Benjamin Grimes Davis?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the lead is going to be the 8th New York.
8th.
And it's going to be Colonel Benjamin Franklin Grimes Davis, who is a West Point classmate of Jeb Stuart, a Southerner, and who decided to stay with the Union rather than to join the Confederacy.
Smart man.
He had been pretty much one of the highlights of the Union cavalry to this point in the war.
He's one of the favorites of somebody watching, if you want to talk more about him.
Yeah. He's a favorite of both Pleasanton and Buford. They like him. He's a disciplinarian, so the volunteers don't really like him.
Of course not.
But, except for his 8th New York, because 8th New York love him. But the reality is that Davis is going to lead this attempt because he's probably one of the best they have to get over that ford. And he's going to give an order that's going to be crucial was it advance as foragers?
Advance as foragers.
What does that mean?
Once they realize there's a little bit of opposition there, now they need to hustle across that river. That's going to slow them down. Get across their advance as foragers, so they're now going to split up a little bit, and they're going to be able to oppose whatever's in front of them.
So what does that mean? Is to advance as foragers, like just scattered out?
It's kind of like to put it crudely, and probably I'll get hashed over for this, but
Probably.
it's kind of not a great comparison, but kind of the equivalent of mounted skirmish formation.
Okay.
It's not, you're not bunched together. You're spreading out so that you can advance forward.
Discover.
So you're not bottlenecking at the ford. You can spread out, move forward so that more soldiers can come across.
All right. So it's kind of like using Vietnam tactics. Like you're not all clumped together.
Not necessarily. Not the line formation that
Yeah.
we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I've never heard that before, but I also don't know all the orders, so that would make sense.
But Grimes is a big deal. I mean, as I said, he was one of these guys who you really see could be that promoted up in this new cavalry corps, can really highlight his abilities. But then very early on in the advance, as the 6th Virginia attacks and counterattacks, because what were we talking about? The horse artillery is in that, Stuart's horse artillery is in that area.
Yeah.
They're
not too far,
unharnessed
but-
and they're ready to move across the river, but they're, I think a quote from somebody, it may have been Hart himself, but somebody from his battery is going to say, I think we're the line. How do you say it? The line is a little too close, or
It's something to that.
we're
effect.
roosting a little too close to the lion's
Yes,
den.
Exactly. We're roosting a little
okay.
too close to the lion's
what-
den.
yeah.
Yeah, so the artillery park is what, by St. James Church, right?
It's
They're-
not even
No, not
there.
even
It's
there.
closer
Oh,
to
it
the
is.
ford.
The Cunningham Circle and up further up there. Yes.
Yeah, it's only a mile off the ford.
Okay.
So yes.
So you're talking, what is that?
That's where the artillery park is. Okay.
So those 40 guys of the 6th Virginia who are picketing the ford are making as much noise as they possibly can because they need reinforcements, and they need reinforcements now.
And there are brothers belonging to the 6th Virginia, Bob and Fleet James. And they are going to be some of the first men who are there encountering the Union troops coming across the river. And they will be firing the revolvers possibly at the Union troops, but as much as anything, shooting up in the air just to get everybody else's attention.
Yeah.
This is an alarm. This is an alert for the rest of the 6th.
And so when that's done, these artillerists are now having to scramble. It's a scramble drill for the ages. They're having to get their horses who have been out grazing. They have to get their pieces limbered up, their artillery pieces, and they have to get out of there as quickly as they possibly can. Meanwhile, the rest of the 6th Virginia rushes to the scene with men in various states of undress and some riding bareback. They realize the danger here. They realize the threat to the horse artillery, and they're moving quickly.
So Beckham at that point withdraws them too near the St. James Church line.
Oh, okay. That's my...
Leaving 1 6-pound howitzer, leaving that in the Beverly Ford Road to contest the advance of the Union troops. Okay.
Yeah, and so what happens is a trooper in the 6th Virginia, Lieutenant Robert O. Allen, sees this officer in the middle of the road, and he rides up I think his horse has been wounded, but he rides up on this officer, and this officer sees him at the last moment and swings his saber down on him. Allen ducks, and with the last bullet in his gun, shoots this officer dead.
Yeah. Right in the head.
That was Grimes Davis. Davis is killed instantly.
And does that kind of make the 8th New York and everybody else in the brigade pissed off, and then they fight like the Dickens?
Well,
or
it's going to mean a vacuum in leadership, right?
Okay.
And now it's going to take the wind out of the sails a little bit. Everybody realizes there's a little bit more force here, a little bit stubborn opposition than we were expecting, but they are now going to try to continue to advance. But the problem is that 6-pound howitzer is now placed in the center of Beverly Ford Road, going to be firing canister right down the road. Okay. Buford is not yet across the river. Buford is, again, he's expecting some type of minor opposition. There's going to be skirmishers there. There's going to be pickets. But now Buford hears what? He hears
Fire.
that cannon.
Oh, okay.
And he's saying, wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute.
That's not just pickets.
No.
Yeah.
What's going on? So now things are really going to start heating up.
Right. Okay. So when the Union comes across Beverly Ford in the morning, they're not attacking. They're advancing cautiously, expecting to find something, but they know that they're.
But it grows.
But right.
They're looking to drive the pickets back.
Yeah.
That's not unusual.
No. Just a normal standard operating procedure.
But it's getting hit by the 6th Virginia as they were that causes them, and in the death of Davis, that causes at least the 8th New York to kind of reel a little bit.
Yeah.
To kind of not shatter, but they're going to, if you believe the Confederates, they chased them to the river. But that's if you believe the Confederates.
They were only 5 feet from the river anyway.
But the thing that the 8th New York had going for them is that they had another regiment coming up behind it that was pretty good. The 8th Illinois.
That's right. I was going to say that.
And so what happened was it's just you're seeing a lot of these units starting to come across the river. It's going to delay their advance a little bit, but it's not going to stop them. This could have been disastrous. A vacuum of in leadership in command, a sudden counterattack. These troopers could easily have gone to pieces, but they didn't. And I think that's a lot of the story of the Battle of Brandy Station on the Union side is actions taken by captains and majors to stabilize their commands and to continue fighting. It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Huh.
So they keep fighting. Buford hears the cannon being fired, and he, rushes the rest of his troops over?
He's going to now make a concerted effort to get more men, including himself, across the river to see what's going on and to try to, deal with this unsuspected threat.
Now, how far away is Greg at this point?
Greg is still approaching Kelly's Ford while this is all going on. Greg, and this is 4:35 o'clock in the morning. Right. Greg will finally be arriving at the river. I don't think he's going to get his command over the river till 8 o'clock.
No, not really.
Really?
Yeah.
And part of the reason for that is the 2nd Division actually gets lost a little bit. Duffier gets lost. A guide takes him down a wrong road or something, and it delays a little bit. But they have further to go to get to their fort.
Yeah, they do.
Than Buford does.
But they start at the same time.
But they start at the same time, yeah. And so the delay doesn't help for sure. And trust me, I can sympathize with Duffier. First time I went down to Brandy Station to study to become a guide down there, I got lost on the back roads. And I ended up at Eli's Ford and Chancellorsville. And I'm like, I went too far east on this one. That did not go well.
It's confusing there.
It's a little confusing, but they have further to go. There are some delays that are involved. And so it will take until about 8 o'clock in the morning before they're able to begin crossing the river.
All right. Continue.
All right. So anyway, basically the Union cavalry gets more of their forces over Beverly Ford. Buford's bringing more of his men over, and they're continuing to steadily go down the Beverly Ford road. The 6th Virginia is putting up a resistance, but they know they can't put up a big one against this much force. 7th Virginia is there as well. But by this point, Beckham has been able to assemble his artillery line back near St. James Church. And as far as an impromptu artillery line is concerned, that's not a bad location. It's a raised plateau with the G House on one end and the St. James Church on the other. And the roads naturally funnel
right to
that position.
Yeah. We were out there. You guys did a tour for us. Was it June? Yeah, it was June. And to stand there and hear this story and look out at that field and try to imagine that, we were on the artillery line, but looking out and imagining all these horses and everything, these guys coming and just firing into them, is just crazy.
Yeah.
And we have to remind ourselves that this fight was not expected at this place. So, and at 4:30 in the morning it starts, but you're talking about it's dark at 4:30 in the morning. It's going to be pretty dark for the next hour, maybe hour and a half.
Yeah.
So anything that happens is going to be, you're going by the field and you got smoke that's now inundating the area. it's going to be a confusing situation. So if people say, well, why didn't the Union cavalry just rush down the road? They don't know exactly what's in front of them now.
That's right. Not now.
It's like saying, why don't you take that window unit out of the house when you're shooting a movie about the Civil War?
Yeah, and like any battlefield, this is really going to become a true showing of who is a good leader.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because now the sound of the guns is echoing throughout the area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rooney Lee, up guarding the Hazel River and Welford's Ford, doesn't wait for orders. He pulls his men off of that ford and begins moving towards the sound of the guns.
So he's like slightly northwest, kind of west of this action.
Right.
Right.
And he will eventually make an effort to connect with the left of Jones.
Okay.
That
makes sense.
But he's not staying put. He is moving ahead. Stuart himself will be on his way. Once he figures out what's going on, he is going to really order his headquarters on Fleetwood to be dismantled. What else is there besides his headquarters? The supply wagons for the horse artillery, for the cavalry, all the supply wagons. Stuart orders them towards Culpeper for their own safety, for protection. He knows that's behind the lines, but he also knows Longstreet and Ewell are over there.
For the sake of people who don't have a map in front of them, how far away is Culpeper from
Brandy?
Yeah.
Is it 6-8 miles?
It's got about 6 to 8 miles, 10 from Beverly Ford for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So a safe enough distance.
Yeah.
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 And I've got here an account from Heros von Borka, who is a Prussian aide to Stuart, and he writes about this because that cannon that Buford hears and the fighting that goes on, they also hear it back at Fleetwood. They hear all this activity going on. Our headquarters, as yet resting in quiet, peaceful slumber, was now astir with colorful, vigorous activity, wild though brief confusion. A few minutes later, Stuart's couriers raced off to wake the troops bivouacked in a wide half circle around Fleetwood in order to get them quickly mounted and inform their officers that already large masses of enemy troops had come across the Rappahannock. So Stuart is going to act quickly and decisively.
Yeah.
There's not going to be a hesitation. He's going to send. He's going to first try to figure out what's going on initially, but when he has a good idea, he's going to send troops and send messages to Wade Hampton, who's nearby. Get your forces into that area as quickly as you possibly can.
So doesn't Grumble Jones kind of... I'm trying to remember if I read this in whether these were in his words or not, but he seems to paint Stuart, because I guess this is a little earlier than where we're talking now, but he's sending word back to Stuart, hey, something's going on.
That'll be a little later.
Oh, that's later. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm jumping the gun. Okay,
but we should probably get back to St. James Church.
Let's get back. We all need to go back to church.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So Beckham is going to organize a gun line, probably around 16 pieces, and it's not all he has. He has that one still withdrawing up the road. He has one piece that's going to be sent down to protect the Stevensburg approaches. And there are at least 4 pieces north of the Hazel, 2 of which will come back to support Rooney Lee. But there are going to be somewhere close to 16 pieces in this gun line. And these are, if you're familiar, Matt, you've been there, so you know it's not a wide spread out line.
No.
You know how, according to Army regulations, what the spacing of artillery is supposed to be. They're not going to be able to maintain that.
Is it 14 feet or 17 feet?
Between the pieces?
Between the pieces.
No, it's I think, well, yeah, it's closer to 18, 19, by yard.
Over 15, let's say.
Yeah.
Let's get a horse.
But they are going to be packed in there with probably 1 or 2 guns beyond the church and 1 or 2 guns in front of Hampton beyond the G house. Hampton is brought up to bolster the right side of the gun line. Jones will be on the left side around the church, trying to reach up the road to connect with Rooney. Mm-hmm. So it is, Stuart, it gets criticized for being surprised not just once but twice this day. But in my opinion, Stuart is managing things pretty darn well.
So once he knows what is going on, he's able to make quick decisions rather decisively.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think so.
That's one thing about Stuart on the battlefield or in a situation. He could size something up pretty fast and make a call.
Yeah.
And usually the call was correct. Usually.
Okay, usually. Yeah.
And I think, we talked about his headquarters being collapsed and then sent away, all the supplies being sent away. What he does do, and this is going to be a very important thing, is he keeps his adjutant there, Major Henry Brainerd McClellan, cousin of the general.
George.
Okay?
Yeah.
So McClellan will be on Fleetwood because that's the last known location of cavalry headquarters.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So when people funnel information, they're going to be looking for Stuart there. McClellan will be there to cipher through this information and forward to Stuart as necessary. So he is going to be really, for a while, the only person, along with probably some of his staff, on Fleetwood, while Stuart then moves over to St. James Church to really take command of that line.
Okay. What time of day? Like, where are we now in the morning? Because you described a lot that's happening, but probably didn't take.
Well, by this time, Greg's across the river.
Yeah, so we're about like
so it's 8 o'clock-ish.
It's after.
It's after 8
after
o'clock.
8
It's
o'clock.
9 or 10, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's been a slow and cautious and opposed advance by the Union.
Yeah. So Greg, now he comes in, he's across. Mm-hmm. And now is Buford still pushing, or does Buford get stopped at some point and then like Greg takes over? How does this all work?
Not yet. Buford will still be pushing.
Yeah.
Okay, still pushing.
And while we're on Greg, he is now across the river, and what he will run into are two, or I'm not sure if it's just two, but it's some of Beverly Robertson's cavalry, who, for all intents and purposes, are not very motivated, ambitious at this point. Okay, they are really not going to be involved at all. But what they do is end up blocking the road towards Brandy, which forces Greg to seek a different route.
Yeah. So what then Greg does is he takes his infantry brigade that is along with him, that all-star team, and he moves them up that road to keep an eye on Beverly Robertson and also to secure the ford, Kelly's Ford. So that's the last time we'll hear from that infantry brigade.
Russell, you're talking about.
Russell's brigade, that's it for them. They're not going to be involved. They're going to be there waving at Beverly Robertson and his men and going, hey, how's it going?
Okay.
Yeah.
So he does that while Greg kind of goes down to a road that, for all intents and purposes, it doesn't literally parallel it, but it
will be available to go to Brandy.
Right, it goes straight into Brandy.
Duffier and the 2nd Division proceed to Stevensburg.
Okay, right. So yeah, okay, got it. I'm with you. Continue.
Okay, so Buford, while that's happening, while Greg is doing that, Buford is continuing to push, and here he now brings in. It's not only his volunteer brigades, but now he's got the reserve brigade with him. This is his regulars.
That's yes.
But the regulars have one volunteer regiment in their brigade, the 6th Pennsylvania Volunteer Cavalry, also known as Rush's Lancers.
Ah, yes.
And so Rush's Lancers are going to now be called upon to attack the St. James Church position. Now, the 6th U.S. Cavalry will be in support of this attack, and it's a big dramatic moment. These Union troopers come out of the woods and they advance towards this gun line. Yeah, that goes about as well as you can think it's going to go, going in the face of 16 artillery pieces. Okay. But it's Rush's Lancers. This is a very well established volunteer command. You're talking about connections to the American Revolution. Rush, who raised it, was the grandson of Benjamin Rush. Robert Morris, the major who's in command of them that day, was the grandson or great-grandson of the financier of the American Revolution. We're coming up on the 250th, so I got to put that plug in. Mm-hmm. And so these men some of their basis was the Philadelphia kind of light troop. And so these guys are just a well-established group. They had lances when they were first. McClellan is actually the one who kind of assigns them that. And but by this point, they have ditched their lances because they discovered that going into battle in the Civil War with a big stick is not usually a good idea. And so they've tossed those aside, but they're still called Rush's Lancers. This charge is brave, it's courageous, but it doesn't work. It's bloody. And it's going to be opposed by the artillery, but also Grumble Jones's men are going to come in and counterattack. And Robert Morris is going to be captured. The 6th Pennsylvania is going to suffer a lot of casualties. And in the end, but here's the thing, their performance though, their courage is actually going to earn them the nickname the 7th Regulars.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And part of what they would run into is at the western end of the gun line towards the St. James Church, that road takes a bend. And the 11th and 12th Virginia are on that road. So essentially when the 6th U.S. and the 6th PA make that charge, the 11th and 12th are already on their flanks. They're charging towards the gun line with these 2 Virginia regiments that will be coming in from the right flank, hitting them in the flank.
And so we talked about that on the tour. We were standing there at the St. James Church, looking up the road that was that flanking position. Yeah. Those troopers came in from that direction. As I said, those roads formed a natural funnel.
Yeah.
And the 2 6s fell into the funnel, and then the Virginians came in from the side, and that was it.
So I'm looking at a map here, and it's a very good quality one. So but it doesn't have everything that we're talking about here. The way in phases like they do in the Lano book or Brad Gottfried's book. But I'm trying to show something to the audience here. So if you want, go ahead, take a look up there. So with the area that you're talking about, where the 2 6s are, they're what, up this way here or more down here? Closer to what road are they coming in on? Beverly Ford, or are they coming in up this way?
They're coming in Beverly Ford Road.
Beverly Ford Road. Okay.
Down that way. They're deploying along that. If you see there's another road that goes off to the side. See, there's a connecting road connects the Beverly Ford Road and that other road. So,
this one?
Yes.
Okay.
And so what happens is it kind of, again, forms that natural funnel. If you also look, why, and the question would be then, well, why didn't they just swing around the other direction? Well, down near where you see Hampton on the map, that's not conducive to a flanking movement either because you're too close to the river. So Hampton's not exactly anchored on the Rappahannock, but he's close enough that he has some of that advantage.
And what Hampton will do, opposed by it's Devon.
Yeah, Devon.
They are going to dismount. So it's not going to be true horse cavalry clashes. They are dismounted and firing at one another as infantry or sharpshooters, which is really going to slow down the pace of the fight on that side of the.
So Hampton and Devon both are dismounted, or just
okay? Yeah, they're engaging with each other.
They're just having a brawl.
But also, 2 of the infantry regiments are back near on the Beverly Ford Road on either side, protecting the ford. So that allows Devon to move forward and engage with Hampton. That allows for the reserve brigade to move forward and engage the St. James Church position because you have the 86th New York and the 124th New York hanging back, making sure the ford is protected.
Right.
Okay.
And once this forward effort is stalled along the St. James Church line, General Buford says, my orders are to connect with Gregg at Brandy, and I need to get there. So rather than forcing this issue, he now begins to pull the bulk of his force around to the right towards the northwest. And this is where he is now going to be facing Rooney Lee rather than Grumble Jones.
Okay.
So the momentum is now stalled at the church line, and Buford is now trying to find a way around the left flank of the Confederates, because his goal hasn't changed. He needs to get to Brandy because that's where he is expected to meet Gregg.
That's up by Welford's Ford.
He won't be that far.
But that's that vicinity though, like that end of the map we're looking at here.
Yeah, in that area. What we know today is Buford's Knoll. He is going to end up.
Buford's Knoll. Yeah,
that's here.
The Cunningham property.
Part of the Cunningham property.
Okay, so that's up there.
Yep.
That's Buford's Knoll. So he's watching then the attack here against Fitzhugh Lee.
No, that's Rooney Lee. That's William Henry Fitzhugh Lee.
Rooney.
That's Rooney.
Oh,
Rooney Lee.
Where is this map is not as good as I thought. It's the quality is good, but it's not okay. So where look up here. Here we go. Okay. Is this where we're talking about? I just want
that's
some visual for the audience. Okay.
I can't even see the cursor.
So I can see it, but that's what we're talking about.
Okay.
Because Rooney Lee has come from Welford's Ford, basically marching to the sound of the guns.
That's right.
And has placed himself at that stone wall that divides the Green property and the Cunningham property. Right.
And he has dismounted his troops behind that stone wall. Mm-hmm. And further behind him is a tree line and an open, somewhat of a valley, a low ground where some of those guns, guns that were north of the Hazel, are now coming to support Lee.
Okay. Now,
further behind him, then, is what you mentioned earlier, is this U Ridge part of it. So U Ridge is back behind
U Ridge. Okay. Lee, Rooney Lee, we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The other Lee is infirmed somewhere.
Yeah, he's got rheumatism.
So Munford has a further distance to travel.
Right.
And he won't be as quick to move without orders. Okay. So he will arrive later in the battle.
Okay. I'm getting my Lees confused here.
Munford and all his sons have a few more sets to play before they head on down to
they have to finish the show.
Brandy Station.
They do have contracts, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. So they're gotcha. All right. Continuing. Go ahead. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to call in with a question, 717-420-1978, comment, question, thought, whatever you got. Go ahead.
Well, at this point, Buford's going to try to break the Rooney Lee's line with multiple charges. It doesn't quite work. It's not as disastrous as St. James Church was a little bit, but he's not getting much in the way of progress there. Again, he's facing dismounted cavalry. He's facing artillery. He's got some artillery of his own, but, at this point, he's doing the best he can with what he has. And so he's trying to force the issue there. This is when some of the other infantry arrives. Members of the 2nd Massachusetts and 3rd Wisconsin approach Buford. And they say, they know this. They're infantry. This is their bag.
Right.
They see a position where guys are firing from behind. They can take care of this.
Yeah.
All right. So they approach him and say, we have an idea. We can go take care of that for you.
And Buford really says, I can't order you to do this, but hey, if you guys want to get down there and take care of this for me, I'll buy you a donut later. Right?
Now wait, he says I can't order you to do this.
Yeah, this is a little ambiguous here. He's supposed to be an overall commander of this portion of the battlefield, but infantry and cavalry, is the infantry really going to be commanded by a cavalryman?
And the question is here too, this infantry is under Pleasanton's command. Is it under Buford's command?
Yeah.
There's a question mark there.
But to Tracy's point, though, Buford is in command of this part of the field and Ames is attached to him. So why wouldn't Ames be taking orders from him?
See, that's we don't get anything in the ORs that tells us that there's any clear line of chain of command.
Oh, that's silly.
Things will work out for the best.
Okay, good. How?
So these infantrymen, they make their way down to the stone wall. Somehow they make it down there. They pop up on the flank of Rooney Lee's men, and Rooney Lee's men are getting out of there.
Essentially, the infantry low crawl down there, and they are able to provide enfilade fire right down the stone wall with rifles.
Exactly.
Not carbines, rifles.
And if you're wondering where George Armstrong Custer is at this time,
I was going to
there's actually a story that's involved there. Some of the Wisconsin soldiers are going to comment about it before they go on this little mission of theirs. A young lieutenant approaches them with curly hair and asks if he can go along. So I don't know if he does, but He asked.
Well, he can't get his horse.
Because he's a staff officer at this point, right?
Yeah, he's a staff officer for Pleasanton at this point.
So let me pause here for a second, because you mentioned, first as you're telling this whole story, I'm thinking of what, you know me with my sounds, right? I like the sounds of things. Not only the sound, but how this must look. Two massive bodies of horsemen charging into each other, and horses getting shot and maimed, and the screams of horses mixed with the screams of men and everything like that. Two things I wonder: do you have any accounts describing that you can pull, or you might actually have written down there? And then the second thing I want to know is, did the infantry coming onto the field, seeing all this stuff ahead of them, what was their? Because this is kind of unusual, especially for Union infantry, to be seeing cavalry so engaged at this point in the war. Is this not?
But I don't think they are far enough forward to get a good view of this until they start taking part in this stone wall.
Exactly.
Okay.
They are going to be called forward for that.
Well, okay, then. So when they get involved and they're able to take in the scene, or is there anything about do they have any comments on what it looks like to see a cavalry battle?
Not that I know. Not that I know of right now. I could go research that and find out if there's more. I haven't encountered anything right now. Not saying there isn't anything out there. Right. I just don't know.
Okay.
I'll just be
Trace, have you?
with you.
I'm not off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. But what do you got in your hands there, Mikey?
Well, I have a quote from Private William H. Ware of the 3rd Virginia Cavalry, and this is concerning a cavalry charge, not necessarily the one here at Brandy Station. He said, "A cavalry charge is a terrible thing. Almost before you think, the shock of horse against horse, the clash of steel against steel, crack of pistols, yells of some poor lost one as he lost his seat and down under the iron-shod hooves that knew no mercy.
Oh, God.
Or the shriek of some horse overturned and cut to pieces by his own kind. It is hell while it lasts."
It has to be hell. Yeah. Have you ever heard? You work around horses. Have you ever heard one that's scared or hurt?
Oh yeah.
Right. It's a terrible
sure.
sound.
Yeah.
It's like a demonic sound almost. Right. Like it sounds like it's coming straight out of hell. Imagine a couple 100,000 of those.
And now you have so many horses, and we do have accounts from Fleetwood of how the dust is so thick, it's covering everyone. And you can't tell who's who. So it's the kicking of the dust with the horses combined with the smoke from the carbines and revolvers. Yeah, it's chaos.
That's the movie I'm going to make when I win my $100 million. Yeah. Or my $500 million lottery ticket. I'm going to make that movie.
So we always we see the cinematic version of a cavalry charge. It's, in this sense, these troopers are telling you that's not it.
No.
Ware's telling you that's not it. It's brutal. It's fast. It's horrible. And so when we're talking about the charge of the 6th Pennsylvania against that gun line, now you're adding artillery into this.
Oh, God.
There's just, canister
and horses
shot.
make great targets.
And it's bad. It's really bad out there.
And it's very personal. You're not behind a stone wall shooting a long-range cannon or rifle. These guys are right next to each other, swinging sabers. This is very close.
Yes, very close range.
You can see the expressions on everyone's face.
Oh, I'm sure. There was one account when I covered this in the narrative episode, I had to pull this account because the way the guy described it when he, I believe he used his saber and slashed a guy and hit him in the throat. And he describes the dark blood that comes gulping out of his mouth and everything. It's just horrible.
Yeah.
And that's while the animals underneath are probably flailing about. Like there can't, once the lines meet, there can't be any order to it, right? It has to just be bedlam.
And we can cover this a lot more in, I think, the Fleetwood Hill fight.
Okay. Well,
because we're going to see more of what you're describing from there. But the one thing that's really stands out to me about the Brandy Station fight, as opposed to any other cavalry battle in the American Civil War, is how many times the order is given for them to draw sabers.
Yeah.
Time and time and time again. Despite what these guys will tell you about how glorious and beautiful it is to draw your saber, These guys typically don't like to fight with their sabers.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
And so it's too close. It's too personal. It's too unknown.
Yeah.
And so, but why they're drawing their sabers is things are happening so fast. They're reacting to what's going on at the moment. It's kind of the equivalent of the infantry fixing bayonets. So what happens is you're trying to adjust to the moment. You don't have time to go at range with pistols or carbines. Draw your sabers.
And I love a quote that one of our colleagues, William Truding, mentioned, that once you fire 6 shots,
that's it.
All you have is an expensive hammer.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, yes. But it's a good hammer.
But that's where the saber is a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to reach out a little bit further than that hammer swinging that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So getting back to the narrative, if you don't mind, going back to the battle. So we got Rudy Lee's men are falling back.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going on at St. James Church?
So St. James Church, by this point, remember where we left Henry McClellan at Fleetwood.
Fleetwood, okay.
Now he is going to be seeing something that is not going to be very pleasing. He is going to see the approach towards Brandy Station of Gregg's division. This is the 3rd Division.
Here.
2 brigades, one under Sir Percy Wyndham and one under Kilpatrick. That's right. Along with a 6-gun battery of Martin's battery of 3-inch ordnance rifles.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they are going to be approaching, and now this is the second surprise for J.E.B. First surprise was all these men coming across the fords, specifically Beverly. Now the Yankees are coming in from another direction.
So he's received no reports of this from Robertson or...
Robertson has sent some scouts out to Henry McClellan to inform him that they've seen a large force of cavalry coming in from Kelly's Ford. Grumble Jones has also received some information from Beverly Robertson, and he tells Stuart, and Stuart kind of snaps back at him. Kind of not. Do you want to tell that story or
no? Go ahead.
Okay. So what happens is, Grumble Jones gets this report, sends that report to Stuart. Stuart responds to him saying, "Worry about the fight in your front. I'll worry about the flanks."
Yes.
And Grumble Jones, to the effect, says, "Well, he'll be worried soon enough."
Yeah. He doesn't believe they're coming, does he?
Yeah. He'll soon find out. Yeah.
But also, Hampton has sent a small force to Stevensburg, who will be slowing down and, for all intents and purposes, stopping Duthier from really converging on Brandy and entering this fight. He's going to delay him there. But now Gregg is in Brandy. McClellan is going to send a message to Stuart over somewhere along the St. James line saying, hey, there's Yankees in Brandy. Okay, so now Stuart is like, oh, okay, what now? What now? By this point, Buford's already been moving around to his own right, to the left of the Confederate line, which is relieving some of the pressure on the St. James Church line.
Okay.
So now Jones, who is again rising to this occasion, is going to send a couple of regiments, the 35th Virginia Battalion, White's Comanches, and the 11th and 12th Virginia. They're going to be able to strip them off of the St. James line and head them across the fields a mile away to help McClellan. But before they get there, McClellan's on his own. Okay, Stuart's essentially going to say, Major, you're going to have to deal with this for the time being. You were stuck dealing. So McClellan doesn't have any kind of force at all.
I thought he has one howitzer.
Well, they will be arriving.
Oh, okay.
Okay. He doesn't have any real defensive force on that hill. Okay. Now here comes this lone howitzer back. It's that gun that was used to delay Buford up Beverly Ford Road.
Okay.
They're now running low on ammunition. They have 2-3 rounds left. Okay. So they arrive at Fleetwood. Why? Because that's the last known position of the ammunition. They go back there to refill their limbers. Okay. Only they're not there anymore. They've been sent to Culpeper. Right?
Right.
So this gun arrives. Major McClellan sees this and says, work with what you got, right? Sets them up on the brow of Fleetwood when he sees Percy Wyndham coming from Brandy, maybe half, 3/4 of a mile away, emerging from that tree line, and orders this battery from Hart's battery,
Hart's.
I think.
It's from Hart's.
To fire a few rounds. Well, that's all they have.
Right.
But that's what it took to slow down Wyndham. Wyndham's brigade consists of 3 regiments: the 1st New Jersey, the 1st Pennsylvania, 1st Maryland. But before Wyndham can send them against Fleetwood, he needs to discern what in the world is up there now.
Right.
We weren't expecting this fire.
Right.
Now we're receiving some artillery fire. Okay. So he is going to call up that 3-gun battery from Martin, place them in the field in front of his men to try to develop the situation on Fleetwood. And there's now going to be counter battery fire, which doesn't last too long because the Confederates only have 2 or 3 rounds.
Right. All right.
Right? So by the time the Confederates are finished with that, Wyndham is now launching this attack. Okay? But that is those Confederate shots are going to buy enough time for Grumble Jones' men to begin to arrive.
And Wyndham's unaware of them because they're coming, from the other side of the hill?
direction.
Yeah.
But this is key also, being on the ground. And actually, I encourage people to come out and take tours at Brandy Station.
Absolutely.
And in Culpeper. But Fleetwood Hill itself as a position is imposing.
Yeah.
It is a raised piece of ground. It's a big ridge, essentially, that runs north to south. And
it's about 2 miles long.
2 miles long.
Yeah.
And so what happens is if you're approaching it from the west, you can't see anything to the east. If you're coming in from the east, you can't see anything on the west. Mm-hmm. And if you're standing on top, like Henry McClellan was, he would have been looking out onto down there at Brandy Station, which is not too far away, and see those 3 cavalry regiments deploying. And that must have been oh man, this is not going to go well moment because that's a lot of force. He could have seen them coming from a long way away.
Sure.
And so, I mean,
is he aware that Jones's men are coming?
Well, he's
not initially. They will be there soon enough, and he will probably,
Now, wait, you say McClellan's up there alone. It's not just him. He's there with some staff officers, right?
He's got some stuff,
right.
Yeah.
And the wagons have all been gone. They're long gone by this point.
So what you have is you have the Federals racing up one end of Fleetwood Hill. Now you got Grumble Jones's men racing up the other end of Fleetwood Hill. Henry McClellan sees them, and he rushes down and says, basically, you've got to get up there.
Right, hurry your ass.
Now, hurry, now. And an officer in the 12th Virginia will say, as they crest the rise of Fleetwood Hill, the valley below them was black with Yankees. And then they run into each other.
Yeah.
Slam.
And this is really a location, to go back to what we were talking about with the horses smashing into one another. This is really for the rest of the battle where that's going to occur. It's just one mass of humanity and horse flesh up there swinging and shooting at each other. It will have some temporary breaks in, but this is going to be, a dust cloud and smoke cloud of men just self-preservation. And
as each new regiment gets fed into the fight, it's going to seesaw back and forth in what one combatant called a promiscuous fight.
Promiscuous.
And it's chaos. It's chaos incarnate. Yeah. There's nothing up there that resembles order. It's basically, think of the wheat field on a micro scale with a lot of horses and sabers. Boom.
And the 35th Virginia, again, White's Comanches are going to be one of the first Confederate regiments or battalions to arrive. They are going to charge right through the Yankees. And they will end up at the newly advanced 3 guns of Martin's battery. And there's no cavalry to protect Martin's guns. They are going to be down there shooting and swinging at the gunners. The gunners are trying to protect themselves with their rammers and their handspikes. And, I think in the Civil War, the biggest compliment you can be paid is when your enemy is telling you how good you did.
Yeah. Sure.
And the Comanches will be saying about White's gunners. They did not want to relinquish those guns, and they fought to the last man. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
what was it? Didn't they lost a lot, didn't they? Or is that, I'm thinking of a New York battery, I think.
But what?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, that is it.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
Oh, it is?
It
It is that one. Yeah.
Ah, see?
But the problem is now the Comanches are too far advanced, and they can't stay there. And they will be forced to withdraw back up Fleetwood Hill. But by this time, Hampton's already withdrawing from the northern or the eastern side of the St. James Church line, and he will be rushing over there. Again, Stuart's management can't be blamed or can't be faulted here. He is pushing men where they need to be when they need to be there, as well as Beckham's guns. Mm-hmm. They're going to be withdrawing. Now, they will leave some sharpshooters, one of the Virginia regiments, over around St. James Church just to kind of keep a check on things. But for all intents and purposes, that line is not going to be advanced anymore by the Union troops. Okay. Pleasanton will make it up that far and actually use the G House that was part of the line. He would use that as a hospital in his headquarters for a couple of hours.
Okay. And where's the G House again? Is that...
It's at the end of the Culpeper County Airport right now.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's at the opposite end of the gun line from the church.
Right. Mm-hmm. All right. So like around here? Oh, opposite end.
No. Down. You were right initially.
Right here.
No, actually, up.
Go
up to Hampton. The left flank of Hampton. Left flank of Hampton.
Okay.
Right there.
Right here.
Yeah, left flank of Hampton. Up. Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Yep,
Okay.
right there. Right in there.
Right.
That's the airport.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So okay, yeah. That looks familiar to where we had our tour. The roads, the way they go there. Okay. Yep. All right. Good. Okay. So continue.
Okay. Where do we go from here? That's a good question. This is, again, Stuart has been acting very quickly, but honestly, Gregg's feeding in these regiments one at a time, essentially, or these brigades one at a time. Mm-hmm. And so we've heard from Percy Wyndham a little bit. Wyndham's going to get wounded. Yeah. His ones, the 1st Maryland, 1st Pennsylvania, 1st New Jersey, are going to get pretty well fought out. It's going to be a pretty bloody mess up there with those guys. But now here comes in Hugh Judson Kilpatrick, who is now at this point a colonel. He's not a brigadier general yet. He's not in command of division. He's in command of a brigade. And so he starts to feed in his regiments into the fight as well. So it's one of those things where it's like, as I said, you have both sides are just feeding regiment after regiment into this fight, and it's seesawing backwards and forwards based on what new regiments enter into the fray, both Confederate and Union.
And Kilpatrick's 2 New York and 1 Maine regiment will be attacking Fleetwood from the southern end of the hill. So when they are attacking up that hill, supported by the other 3 pieces of the battery, the New York battery, they are going to be caught really almost in a flanking move by Hampton coming in from the east. So it's, again, a big mass of horses and men just smashing into one another.
Okay. I see it there. So on that map, this isn't a good depiction of it because I'm looking at it. These are this battle, folks, is also depicted in the Leno book and also Brad Gottfried's the hell's it called? The Maps of the Cavalry in the Gettysburg Campaign.
And Stephen Stanley does some really good stuff with the ABT as well.
American Battlefield Trust maps are really good.
Yes, they are. And I tried to download them to show everybody. Those are the ones I wanted to use, but they all came down as PDFs and I couldn't zoom. But anyway, this one here, so you're talking about Hampton coming over this way, right? Mm-hmm. But it's a different point. But Kilpatrick is up more at this point, at least according to the Leno book. This is an overview here.
That's a decent enough overview. Yeah. If you're looking for specifics, it's not great.
It's not good for specifics.
But again, each map maker is an interpreter.
Yeah.
And they're interpreting that situation.
And it's I always
and remember the battlefield is an extremely fluid situation. Things are moving around all the time.
That's what I was going to say. Like,
so a map is a snapshot of a moment.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of moments, especially in this battle.
Yeah. And so, do you want to tell the story of the 10th Maine, or
no? Go ahead.
I love the 10th. Maine.
Well, you know what? Wait, Mike, hold on. Hold that story. We got to take our break. We don't have any questions, so
that means we're doing our job.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We're gonna take a break, and we'll come back. Mike can tell that story, and then we'll kind of talk about I guess the legacy of this battle after we end it, and all that other stuff. So we'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen, after these words.
Call in. We'd love to hear your thoughts on today's topic. 717-420-1978. See you in a sec.
Sing it as we used to sing it, 50,000 strong, while we were marching through Georgia. Hurrah, hurrah, we'll bring the Jubilee.
The Gettysburg Museum of History, located right here in the center of Gettysburg, PA. Owner and curator Eric Dorr grew up here and has spent his life collecting and preserving history through artifacts ranging from the Civil War, the Battle of Gettysburg, World War II, presidential items, pop culture, and more. His museum is free and open to visitors Wednesday through Sunday, 11 to 5 p.m., where you can stop by and immerse yourself in some of the most amazing artifacts that you would never believe exist in the middle of Gettysburg. If you're a fan of Band of Brothers and Everything Easy Company, you'll love his exhibit featuring the Dick Winters collection and artifacts from D-Day. You can even own your own piece of history by buying one of the many relics they have for sale in the museum and on the website GettysburgMuseumofHistory.com. The Gettysburg Museum of History is a non-profit 501c3 organization with a foundation that allows all purchases and donations to keep the museum operating and open free of charge. They have been featured on the History Channel, the Travel Channel, the Smithsonian Channel, and the Science Channel. Now you can check them out on American Artifact, the series on the YouTube channel, The History Underground. So that's the Gettysburg Museum of History at 219 Baltimore Street or the GettysburgMuseumofHistory.com.
At Digital History Pioneers Foundation, we are about grassroots history on digital platforms. That means we are about podcasters, documentarians, YouTubers, and even TikTokers. All of these creators are out there trying to share their love of history with the public. They don't need ideas, they need funding, both from viewers and corporate donors. DH Pioneer's initial funding focus is on the Civil War era, with a special emphasis on the Addressing Gettysburg podcast. So be a vital part of the unique content Addressing Gettysburg has in store by donating at dhpioneers.com and help bring your love of history to the people. Digital History Pioneers is an IRS Section 501c3 approved charitable corporation that makes any donation tax deductible to the fullest extent of the law.
When you're dragging ass out of bed, the hairs must up on your head. You picture the 20th Maine, and you're happy once again. Fight the battle against being slow with Little Ground Top Road.
Oh man, you shake it up and it smells absolutely delicious, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, I'm talking about Little Ground Top. Tracy, you a coffee drinker?
Nope.
Great. This is going to be a great commercial. So for coffee drinkers, though, Little Ground Top is known as one of the greatest coffees ever since that guy whose name escapes me right now crawled off a mountain in Colombia. What the hell was his name? Juan Valdez. Thank you. I wanted to say Don Bulow, and I knew that wasn't a real person. I was like, Don Bulow. It's like my neighbor who drinks too much, Don Bulow. Anyway, ever since Juan Valdez crawled out of a mountain cave in Venezuela or wherever he was and said, I'm going to make some coffee, this is the new whatever the hell he made. Nescafe? Anyway, It's Little Ground Top. You can get it at Bantam Roasters. You can get it, you can get it online. And that is what I would recommend you do, is go online and get your Little Ground Top ASAP. You go to addressinggettysburg.com/cafe and you can order it. And you know, I hear from so many people, Michael. I'm really actually very pleasantly surprised at how popular this is.
Well, I'm not. It's great. It's a wonderful blend.
It's great, but usually everything, some people say, everything that guy touches turns to gold. Me, it turns to lead. So the fact that people are buying this is it warms my cockles. And I'll tell you, they used to put out 12 pounds. They used to put out 12 pounds of this a week, and they would sell out by like Sunday, and they put them out Friday night, Saturday morning. Now they said, well, we're going to do 18 pounds, and they sell out by Monday. So that only gets you like an extra day if you come into town and get them. But you can also go to the Ragged Edge Cafe on Chambersburg Street. They've got about 12 pounds a week there as well. The best way, the most surefire way to get it is to subscribe. Frankly, just get a monthly subscription online at addressinggettysburg.com/cafe. That's what you should do. Otherwise, go to Bantam Roasters, 82 Steinway Avenue. Do you like coffee?
Oh, I love coffee.
Well, then here's your bag of Little Ground Top. Mike, thank you for being a guest.
Wow.
There you go. Look at that. You're going to have to get it ground according to how you make your coffee, but there it is, Michael. Enjoy. And all of you who are about to go buy it right now because you're finally convinced that you need to get it, go to addressinggettysburg.com/cafe.
You're listening to Addressing Gettysburg.
Super chats of $10 or more rise above the din in the comments section. Now that that's out of the way, let's ask a Gettysburg guide. Here's Matt and the gang.
All right, so we're back now, ladies and gentlemen, and we have no submitted questions from our audience, and that's not the audience's fault. That is not Dave's fault, who compiles the questions. It is not Tracy and Mike's fault or the subject that they're talking about's fault. It is my fault because I never asked for them, because usually when I ask for them, we get them. So I can only imagine that I didn't ask for them months ago when we did them. So I apologize to you gentlemen for that, but that's okay, because I'm sure I have tons of questions. And Tad, I want to talk to you in the back. You're filling in for Mikey B tonight, and Court, actually. Court's still got Girl Scouts, and Mikey B's visiting his dad. Happy birthday to Mikey B's dad, by the way. But you, Tad, you're back there. You don't know anything about the Civil War. Yet
I know it happened.
You know that it happened, and knowing is half the battle about that, I guess. But are you bored?
I might. No.
No, you're enthralled.
Whatever the in between is, I'm somewhere in that.
Let me ask you this, and I'm always curious when it's a newbie, a fresh face. Is this easy to follow?
Somewhat. I recognize some of the names. I know a little bit, just enough to be dangerous, but obviously there's a whole lot of other context to it that I'm not super aware of, but I don't know. I'm kind of following along.
Does it make you want to learn more?
Oh, that's a great question. Does it make you want to learn more?
The correct answer would be yes.
He pushed the microphone away. He just went... All right, let's get back to the goddamn show. Okay, so thank you, Tad, by the way, for that wonderful interlude. So, okay, you wanted to tell the story of the 8th Maine.
Well, first Maine.
First Maine, yeah. After the 8th.
Yeah.
Before the 8th.
Well, what's a Gettysburg podcast without talking about men from Maine?
Of course, right? No, they're tough fighters. So what do they do?
Kilpatrick had thrown both of his previous regiments right into the fight. Now he had the 1st Maine left, and he goes to them. Now, Kilpatrick has been throwing his men. He's kind of south of Fleetwood Hill, near the Orange and Alexandria Railroad. So they're approaching from the south. And what happens is he turns to the 1st Maine and asks them, what can they do? And the Mainers say, we can drive them, meaning we can drive the Confederates off of Fleetwood Hill. Kilpatrick says, do it. So the Mainers line themselves up and charge across that open field and then start advancing up Fleetwood Hill.
Yes.
Now they are successful because what happens, they crash in and they are able to capture the hill, but then they keep going.
Oh, no.
Down the opposite side.
Oh, no.
And there's another hill to the north and kind of to the west with a house on it that we call Beauregard today. And so they start going up that hill towards that house. But there are a few VIPs at Beauregard.
Beckham's artillery is really going to start playing on them and begin to deflect their trajectory.
Yeah.
How do you like those words?
That's
Deflecting
good. I like
trajectory.
That.
Nice.
Makes you sound smart.
So they start heading that way, but there are a couple of VIPs at Beauregard watching them come across.
Yeah.
Robert E. Lee is one of them.
Oh.
He's there within sight of that fight.
So he's in that house, the Beauregard house?
Along with
Richard Ewell.
Okay. And they're watching the fight from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because they're not far away.
Yeah. No.
And then the fight looks like it's coming right to them.
Right.
But thank God for Beckham, as you point out, because that starts to deflect them.
Yeah. And
okay.
But they also notice that things have kind of shifted a little bit behind them as well. And then Beckham. And so they kind of break off their attack up towards Beauregard and swing back. Exact location and route.
Well, they're going to turn back more towards Brandy, but then curve around to try to reconnect with the rest of the brigade. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a long ride, but they do bypass Beauregard or the Barber House where the big boss man is.
Yeah.
So
if only they knew.
Yeah. That's one of those what ifs.
Yeah. What if they kept going through Beckham's line and up onto the hill?
Took the Barber House.
Took the Barber House. You got Lee and Ewell.
Mm-hmm.
That would have changed a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And what if Jackson was there?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if Jackson was on Fleetwood Hill?
Right. I'm so sick of that question.
So by this time, this is really going to be the last Union attack and effort to take Fleetwood, and it will be ultimately falling back into the hands and control of the Confederates. But 2 miles north, Rooney Lee has fallen back from that stone wall to U Ridge, followed by a somewhat steady push by Buford's men. Now remember, by this time we're talking early mid-afternoon. Buford's been in the saddle and fighting. His men have been fighting since, 4 o'clock in the morning. This is a long day.
Yeah.
Right? So they continue to push. They do believe now they can hear the fire, the gunfire from the south, the Fleetwood. So Buford knows Gregg is there.
Okay.
And he is still trying to push through to make that connection. But now Rooney Lee is opposing him still. And now Munford will be coming up finally to aid some opposition with Lee. Buford will be trying to make this push, and then Pleasanton is going to finally send orders. We've done enough. We've accomplished everything that we set out to do. Everything, according to Pleasanton. I mean, have they destroyed the Confederate Army, which was the main plan?
Right.
No, but they did accomplish everything. Right. So break this off. We need to get back across the river. So Buford and Gregg never do make that connection, but they've made a point, right? They have made a point. Buford will now withdraw back towards Beverly. Down in Stevensburg, 4 miles south, Duffier is held up by just a few men, including Frank Hampton, the general's brother, who is killed. He is killed down there. But there was enough resistance by that small Confederate force to discourage Duffier from trying to push through. And Duffier, in my mind, should have been able to very easily push that small force aside, but he just never did. He is going to receive those orders and retreat back across Kelly's Ford. Gregg will circle clear around, and he will retreat back across Beverly with Buford. for about 14 hours of fighting?
Oh, yeah, 12 or 14 hours, give or take. And Gregg's all fought out.
Yeah.
Buford's all fought out.
Yeah. Everybody's
fought out.
Dufier's exhausted and lucky he didn't get lost again. And so, yeah, I think across the board, the Union cavalry is pretty much all fought out with the exception of a couple of regiments in Dufier's division.
Yeah.
Northside Memory writes in the comments section, Stuart's chief aide apparently said that Brandy Station made the Union cavalry. I think it's generally accepted the Confederate cavalry had the edge on its Union counterparts early in the war. Is Stuart's aide being a bit dismissive? And was that gap in quality exaggerated? How much did that gap hinder the Union in 1862 and early 1863 compared to maybe the general Union command failures?
Well, this could be a whole episode onto itself. Really,
we should do that episode.
Yeah,
but we covered this a little bit earlier. Stuart had literally run rings around the Union Army because the Union cavalry had not been properly utilized. And so by the time we get to 63 with Hooker and his reforms of putting cavalry under cavalry officers, novel concept, it really starts to flip in a big way. Now, Henry McClellan is the aide he's talking about.
Yeah.
Henry McClellan might have a little bit of a self-interest here because this is probably his best day on the battlefield in the war, is at Brandy Station. But still, it's that why does this matter? Why does this battle matter? This was the first time that the entirety of the cavalry corps had engaged all of Stuart's force. Mm-hmm. And they had given Stuart all he could handle for 12 to 14 hours. Mm-hmm. That had never really happened before.
Right.
And so it's a huge confidence boost for these Union troopers. And so did it make them? I wouldn't go necessarily that far, but it's a huge moment in the point where now the Union cavalry is going to come of age.
Gives them some confidence.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, though, Stuart, isn't he embarrassed by this? Don't the Southern papers kind of excoriate him?
I think it's going to play on Stuart, maybe his ego as much as anything. But
sure.
Again, I personally feel he really rose to the occasion. He was surprised twice, and he was able to ably handle his men and get them where they needed to be when they needed to be there.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, you're right. And again, this goes to show how, just like today, just like before the Civil War and ever since, just all along, newspapers, they have their agendas.
I've got some.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. And people who aren't there always have an opinion. I mean, we were just joking about it during dinner with the movie, Bo Brinkman's movie that was just filming here this weekend, and people looking at pictures taken on somebody's cell phone of the whole set, and they're like, well, there's an air conditioner in that window, or this, that, or the other thing, and it's like, but you don't understand. Like, you're looking at a wide angle from somebody's cell phone. They're not using wide angles in the movie. They're using tight shots and crop shots. And like, you're not going to see that stuff. They're professionals. They know not to get, but people have an opinion and everybody's an expert, though they've never done the thing they're being an expert on.
Yeah. I mean, following this battle, Facebook just lit up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in a big way.
Yeah. I bet it did.
Yeah.
So go ahead, tell us about it.
So not only that, but
Civil War Facebook.
You see the diaries and you see the letters of the infantrymen and the men within the army are saying, "Ooh, it looks like the cavalry got surprised the other day.
Yeah.
It looks like Stuart's getting knocked down a peg."
You mean the Confederate Army?
Confederate. Sorry, Confederate. Sorry, I misspoke.
No, I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, Confederate Army is going, wow, he got surprised. And that gets out there. But then it also shows up in the newspapers. So some of these newspapers who were laudatory of Stuart in 1862, listen to this. I love this. There is little doubt this is from the Savannah Republican. There is little doubt from all accounts that our cavalry, resting secure and believing there was no danger with so much infantry surrounding them, allowed the enemy to surprise them everywhere. The whole affair was, to say the least, very discreditable to somebody. Richmond Enquirer said, if General Stuart is to be the eyes and ears of the army, we advise him to see more and be seen less. The Richmond Examiner will ascribe the blame for the surprise to negligence and bad management by vain and weak-headed officers who treated the conflict like a tournament.
Oh, Jesus.
And the Richmond Dispatch described the surprise as being the result of Stuart and his staff rollicking, frolicking, and running after girls.
Now that's a reference to the Grand Review.
Exactly.
Right. But remember now, this is very outside looking in and very one-sided.
Sure.
Yes.
The Union was just as surprised, and the correspondents here are writing to sell papers, and they're writing to maybe push some buttons. Okay, they weren't there. You know, they're seeing the air conditioner in the window. They're not seeing up close how Stuart handled things.
But luckily, people who did wrote it down, and we can get a clearer picture and a fairer assessment of Stuart.
And I really don't think McClellan was alone in believing that the Union cavalry handled themselves very well.
Oh, very much so. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure Stuart probably believed that. I mean, you know,
he may not want to admit it, but I think, he felt that. Yeah.
And
that may have been the third surprise of Stuart, has how well the Union cavalry handled them.
How about Lee? Did Lee, since he was watching it, how long was he watching for?
I don't
know that for sure. I'm not aware of the time frame there, but he was there.
Yeah.
So what was his take on the whole thing?
Well, it didn't deter him from the next day.
That's
the movement north was delayed by
1 day,
24 hours.
Yeah, that's the direct impact of this. Is that the move north was delayed by 1 day.
Yeah.
And so Stuart, who's now in charge of the field, so if you want to talk about 19th century warfare rules, technically he might have won this battle. But he had a mission. He had an object to go and do. He had something else he needed to do. So he buried the dead where they lay.
Friend and foe side by side.
Exactly. And so it's one of those things that when we see land eaten up by development at Brandy Station or close by, those, like the Culpeper Airport, who knows how many graves are in that general vicinity?
Yeah. Did they? So, do we know that there are some still there? Did they not reinter them at any point, or families recover them?
I think the point is that this battlefield and this land was this close to being lost forever by development, by an airport, by a Formula One racetrack, by developments, you name it.
Bud Hall talked to us before our tour in June, and he talked about that and the history of preserving it. And what is it, like 2,000 acres, something like that?
I don't think it's quite that much. It's approaching.
Approaching? Okay.
And that's what has been definitely preserved. There is a lot of acreage that's under easement that can't be developed.
Yeah, and that was a big victory for them, right? That they were able to get that.
So ABT, Bud worked very early on to really fight the development. He drove a couple of California developers into bankrupt. Not him alone, but his attorneys and the team would drive them into bankruptcy. And as Bud says, they would run back to California with their tails between their legs. And this was a big victory for preserving history and preserving this battlefield, because it's not Brandy Station alone. This is the encampment of the Union Army during the 1863-1864 winter.
Yes.
Right.
So it's all the same field. And this is the most marched over and fought over land in America. I mean, this land, the history and the combat dates back to the American Revolution.
Yeah.
So this is very important to preserve this land. And the ABT was able to really step in and do that as they grew. And now, as of last year, portions of this preserved land are being turned over to the Commonwealth of Virginia as the 43rd State Park.
Great.
Yeah. And that will be done incrementally over the years, continuing to turn that over.
That's fantastic. It's I remember as a kid, we were visiting relatives and we went there for the afternoon. And there wasn't really a there to go to.
No.
There were wide open fields, farms, and things like that. My only memory of the Brandy Station battlefield was a marker on, in my memory, it's an embankment, somebody's front yard. There was a house, there was a marker there. I feel like it was on Fleetwood Hill. I don't know for sure though. And that was it. Like there was no shoulder to even pull over, but there was nobody on the road because it's in the middle of nowhere basically. So we just stopped and looked at it and everything. And that was all. But that's my only memory of it there. And then when we went back, was it 2-3 years ago now? We did that anniversary show up on Fleetwood Hill with Bud. I couldn't believe how much there was. And we went on Buford's Knoll, and he told that story about with Sam Elliott.
Yeah.
But, I believe there were like lunettes up there, from not mistaken.
That was from 1862.
That's
from
62.
the Washington Artillery.
Okay. So it was
New
Confederate.
Orleans.
Yep, it was.
That is just the Civil War alone, very historic land there. And I'm so happy. I hate seeing, look at all the fighting with developers around Manassas. I remember the first thing that was like so outrageous was Disney wanted to put in an American history park.
That's right.
Right by Manassas. It's like, and then people were like, we have that. It's called Manassas. It's called Bull Run. Like, what do you mean an American history park? And like, no, but it'll be Mickey.
We're going to have rides.
Yeah, we're going to have rides, and Mickey will be Stonewall Jackson and his steroid-induced horse.
Oh, no.
Goofy will be the steroided horse.
Yeah.
And so, Northern Virginia especially is definitely up by Manassas. I hope it's a long time before it really gets out to Culpeper, but unfortunately, it seems like it's encroaching.
I mean, there are data centers
very much
being built right now in the shadow of Hansborough Ridge.
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well. I mean, what's in Montana? Can't you just put all the data centers in Montana and Wyoming? There's nobody there.
North Dakota.
Yeah. Jeez. And you telling me you don't get sun out there? Yeah. Like we are, like our sun is so great here.
So with regards...
Oh, no, I'm thinking of solar panels.
With regards to the Brandy Station battlefield, if the listeners have not been there, it is nothing like Gettysburg.
No.
There are no monuments. There are waysides put up by the ABT. There are no park roads. You have access by some graveled roads, things like that. But there are no monuments and all of this stuff. There's very little encroachment on what has been preserved. So it is very pristine, very pristine. It's not like we've had a motel here and we've raised that and repurposed the land, returned it to what it looked like. It's always looked like this. Now, there are some more trees than there would have been, things like that. And there are some structures that were present that are no longer there. But it is very well preserved.
Well, and my favorite part of our tour in June was when we went to the, basically, I guess, foundation of St. James Church.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we sat inside it. There's still some bricks laying around there. And there's headstones from the graveyard, but it's in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
And that was so cool. I did not know that existed.
So, the church, the land for the church was deeded by who we spoke about earlier, Richard Cunningham. He owned a 1,600 acre farm there. He was usually not present. He was a mercantile dealer in Richmond, so he had a supervisor, an overseer, John Wiltshire, who ran the farm. It was a slave farm, but Cunningham, when he was at his home, he would go across the Rappahannock to church. Well, in bad weather, he couldn't do that. So he funded this land, and he and another local landowner gave money to build the St. James Church. Oh. It was a brick church. The bricks were most likely made by hand by the slaves and built. All right. So this church stood during the battle. And now the battle's over. The armies moved to Gettysburg. And after Gettysburg, where do the armies return to? Culpeper, the winter encampment.
Yeah.
All right. So the soldiers, including men from the 1st U.S. who made that devastating attack along with the 6th U.S. along with the 6th Pennsylvania, they were some of the men primarily involved with deconstructing that church because they're using the bricks to build the fireplaces in their winter encampment huts.
Oh.
Yes.
And it was never reconstructed?
And never reconstructed. However, after the war then, a new church would be built to take its place in Brandy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what we were sitting in were the ruins of the church that Union soldiers dismantled.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh, that makes it even cooler. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, God, that's so good.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And the only known illustration of that church was done by one of the men from the 6th U.S.
Mm-hmm.
And Bud Hall has that illustration. It is available online. I do have a copy of it in my binder, but it kind of gives you an idea of what the church looked like, and it does show the headstones out beside it too.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Those of you that did not join us in June really missed out. Shame on you. Exactly. Thank you. Shame on you, because it was really good, and it was nice to get out to other battlefields. And as much as I love Gettysburg, and as to me, it was never a confusing field for me to learn. Like very quickly, I picked up on it, and I think it's because prior to visiting here, I played Sid Meier's Gettysburg over and over and over again, and those maps are quite accurate. I mean, not accurate like you wouldn't use it if you were like in the army, but but as far as where things are in relation to other things, it's pretty good. And but these other places, they're like you're saying, it's not like Gettysburg. There aren't 1,400 monuments and markers. There's nothing. And so you've got to know how to look at a map. You've got to have someone like Mikey or Tracy there to interpret for you. And but always have a map. You got to have a map. Maps are the best. You have to have maps.
Yeah. And there are, you can explore it yourself. However, there are places you don't have access to unless you have a guide with you.
See, that's the other thing. You need see, right. So as I say here with Gettysburg, anywhere there's a guide, get a guide. And so obviously you're going to go to Brandy Station with guides. Guys, how?
CulpeperBattlefieldTours.com.
Yep.
That's okay. Yeah. And also people want to help, in preservation efforts and everything. I guess should they do it through the trust, or is there a foundation for
American Battlefield Trust is great.
Yeah. All right, we'll continue that then, supporting the trust with all their efforts. And if you want to go back and start this show all over again after you get a map book, these are the books we're talking about: the Gettysburg Campaign Atlas and there we go. The Maps of the Cavalry in the Gettysburg Campaign, Bradley Gottfried, Philip Lano.
Also, probably not just an atlas. There are a few good resources out there. Probably the most modern is Eric Wittenberg's Brandy Station.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
The Battle of Brandy Station.
Yeah. That is a good one.
And there are articles by Bud in some of the, are they blue and gray?
Yeah, Civil War Illustrated, I think. And there are a few Civil War.
Bud Hall is really the premier historian of this battle.
Yeah, get any article with Bud Hall and you're going to be fine.
Well, I'm going to get Bud Hall to come up here, and we talked at the tour about it, and I'm going to have him do that probably over the winter. We'll have him up and talk about that, and I'll release that on the anniversary next year.
Awesome.
How does that sound, guys?
Beautiful.
As for everything else in the world, I don't know anything about it, but I barely know anything about this, what I do here every day of my life. But I will tell you this, I do know I appreciate you watching and or listening, and I appreciate Mike and Tracy and Tad in the back helping out there, filling in for Mike. Thank you very much, Tad. And thank you all for watching, and we will talk to you next time.
Addressing Gettysburg's Ask a Gettysburg Guide is hosted by Matt Cowdery. with Mikey B. Bariski, and Courtney Micker. Produced by Matt Callery and Courtney Micker. Guides appear gratis, but they would love for you to hire them for a tour on your next visit to the battlefield. To be put in touch with one, send an email to matt@addressinggettysburg.com. Thanks for watching.
Our hearts so stout have got us fame, for soon 'tis known from whence we came. Wherever we go, they dread the name of Gary Owen in glory. Instead of swallow, drink down ale, and pay the reckoning on the nail. No man for that shall go to jail from Gary Owen in glory. Instead of swallow, drink down ale, and pay the reckoning on the nail. No man for that shall go to jail from Gary Owen in glory.
Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, we have a lot more content for you over at patreon.com/addressinggettysburg. Also, you can make a tax-deductible donation to help support more videos like this at dhpioneers.com.